What is going on, everybody? I'm Jordan McKelly. That's my co-host over on the other side of the screen over there. That's Mitchell Balla. And we are the Cover Your Balls crew, live every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. A lot to get into today. J.J. Watt's on the move, and it's not to Cleveland. But I'm going to tell you, and Mitch is going to tell you, why maybe it's not so tragic. Maybe it's why it's not so sad. And LaMelo Ball, he's for real. He may be the best ball brother, maybe the next LeBron James. I'll tell you that later on, Mitch. But before we get into anything else, how was your weekend?
Oh, man. My weekend was fantastic because it was like summer out there pretty much. And then it snowed yesterday, so I came back to reality that I'm in Ohio and not in Arizona, like J.J. Watt. So, yeah, I guess my weekend was all right. Learned how to use a new toy that we're going to be showcasing during the show today a little bit.
Love to hear it. Doesn't sound like a bad thing. Mitch, it's 4 o'clock. By popular demand. So top 4 at 4. Today we're going to go a little generic. Like you, I had a long weekend. Have a cool new monitor here. This 27-inch right in front of me. But it took me forever to set things up. So our top 4 for today, it's kind of lame, Mitch. It's our top 4 sodas at 4. Mitch, what are your top 4 sodas at 4?
Top 4 sodas at 4, Jordan. Right away, I'm going to get some hate for this, but it's in my top 4 at least. At number 4 is Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper is a delicious pop, and I do call it pop, not soda.
Official drinks of Fanville.
It is an official drink of Fanville, and that's why I like Dr. Pepper at 4. At number 3, I like Mountain Dew Code Red. All right, Mountain Dew Code Red for me is one of the best drinks there is out there. It's also a great mixer for when you're trying to mix some alcohol together.
It is.
Personal favorite of mine. At number 2, Jordan, one of the most refreshing pops there is, and that's Sprite. I love a good Sprite. Doesn't hit as well as a nice ice cold beer after a long summer day, but let me tell you, it's probably the best hitting drink there is that has no alcohol in it. And then at number 1, Jordan, I am a fiend for Diet Coke. I love Diet Coke.
That's fair enough.
I used to just drink it because, I used to be a lot heavier and I'm not now, but I still love Diet Coke just for the taste. I blame my mom, but yeah, Diet Coke's number 1 on my list, and I'm ready for the heat from everybody.
Wow, I have somebody coming in the comments. TJ, is it Roward, not Howard, saying McDonald's Sprite? That's hilarious because that's coming up on my list. Maybe not a McDonald's Sprite, though. Maybe something else. At number 4, Mitch, I have Cherry Coke. Grew up on Cherry Coke. I mean, it might be it's better than Vanilla Coke. Just below Coke. At number 3, I'm going to probably have to go with, I can't go with that. I'm going to have to go with regular Coke. Regular Coke is number 3. I drink it more than anything else, but it's not the best pop because it's just not. At number 2, I have ginger ale. I drink ginger ale with every alcoholic drink I have. Every single one. Drinking one right now. And at number 1, we just have orange drink, not Fanta. We're just talking about Save-A-Lot, just straight orange drink.
Orange drink.
It's just orange drink.
You know what I have to say to that?
What do you have to say to that? It is. But I will say this, Mitch, and somebody said in the comments, everything at McDonald's drink-wise, everything is souped up. Like Coke at McDonald's or Diet Coke at McDonald's is not a regular Coke or Diet Coke. It's not even close. It's kind of weird. They last year they finally came out and said that they do put something extra in their Coke that nobody else puts in. They still won't let us know though.
What's really funny about that is, some of the listeners out there in the ball pit today, some of the closest listeners that are my dear friends would know. Taco Bell, Jordan, on Portage, back here in Canton.
Yeah.
Has the best water. As crazy as it sounds, Taco Bell on Portage has the best water ever. And it makes no sense, but that water hits different.
No, it does make sense because growing up, I've gone to a million open gyms. Not every gym's water is created equal. Not every gym's water fountain is created equal. Everybody knows, even at some schools, there's always one one water stop, Jesus, I can't think of drinking fountain. That's terrible. One drinking fountain that's colder than the other drinking fountains in the school. It's always better. Mitch, there's a lot that happened over the weekend. LaMelo Ball still balling. And I thought he would be better than all of his brothers. Not that, one of his brothers isn't that good. Lonzo's pretty good, though. I thought he'd be better than his brothers. I didn't think he'd be quite this good. Through 33 games, Mitch, LaMelo Ball's averaging 16.3 points, 6.3 assists, which is 20th in the NBA, and 6 rebounds a game. He's only doing that off 28.8 minutes. You guys see on the screen, my message to my dad failed. Texan coming in. LaMelo Ball is really, really, really balling out. Is he for real, Mitch? Are you bought into the hype?
I'll come out first and say this, that I did not buy into the hype when he was drafted. I did not think he would be this productive. In fact, his first game as a rookie against our Cavaliers was atrocious. He struggled mightily, and I was sitting there thinking, well, there it is again. This kid's going to suck. But to your point, he is better than LiAngelo. Then again, LiAngelo couldn't even be the mop boy for the Pistons. So
I couldn't even think of his name until you just said that right now. That's where his level is.
Let's put it this way. He was signed by the Pistons, who are the worst record in the league, or second worst record in the league. He couldn't even stay there. So that's how bad he is. So it doesn't take much to be better than him. But Jordan, to your point, LaMelo Ball is the favorite for rookie of the year right now in the NBA, and it's not close. He is looking like he should have been the number 1 pick over Anthony Edwards, over James Wiseman, who was taken second by the Warriors. I think LaMelo Ball is for real, Jordan. I really do. And I just can't wait until the Hornets, hopefully they get a little bit better. Scary Terry's balling, Gordon Hayward's out there. Hopefully they hop up in the standings a little bit so we get some primetime games so I can hear LaMelo Ball 3 and then hear this.
So, Mitch, now is time for one of our new segments, one of our newer games. It's LaMelo or not, here I come. Mitch, I'm going to ask you whether you would like LaMelo for the next 10 years or this other player that I'm going to ask, and it's going to be a lot. So here we go. LaMelo or not? Would you like Melo for the next 10 years or Zion Williamson?
It was LaMelo Ball, right? You're not tricking me here to Carmelo Anthony? LaMelo Ball, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to take LaMelo Ball.
Wow. A lot of people disagree with that.
Strictly because he hasn't got hurt yet. Zion has proved he cannot stay healthy, a little bit too big of a body, and the Pelicans are underperforming this year.
Sure. I mean, he is shooting over 60%, though. Out of all the top 20 players in the NBA, Zion Williamson is the only one shooting 60% or above from the field. Anywho.
That's okay.
Okay, check this out. LaMelo Ball or Devin Booker?
Oh, Devin Booker. Hands down. No questions asked.
All right. LaMelo Ball or Jaylen Brown? Yeah, that's a tough one.
This is a tough one just because Jaylen Brown's made such a big hop this year. I mean, he has to be the leading candidate for most improved player of the year in the NBA. That's really tough, but
I know.
I guess if you're comparing him off the rookie years, LaMelo, through 34 games has played better than Jaylen Brown did as a rookie. And if we're going off the trajectory of that, I guess I'd say LaMelo Ball.
Okay, LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball or Brandon Ingram, who, since getting traded, has been playing remarkably well. I mean, he's an all-star. I mean, how much better can you play than that?
This is another tough one. Oh, this is a really good one. I personally have never been a fan of Brandon Ingram's game.
Okay.
I also personally went on record during our NBA preview show saying I didn't think LaMelo Ball would be that great.
Well, stop taking things so personally. It seems like you take everything very personally.
I do take it personally. I do.
Wow.
Do you happen to have the stats in front of you? Like, who's taller? Like,
who's
is LaMelo
taller?
that much shorter than Brandon Ingram?
Ooh, I'm pretty sure Brandon Ingram is 6'8". So
And LaMelo's 6'6", 6'7"?
Yeah, Brandon Ingram is 6'8". I'm not sure exactly how tall he is. I want to say 6'5", but I could be way off. It's the guys are really deceiving on TV. The guys who we think are midgets sometimes are 6'4", depending on who their classmates, who they're playing with, Mitch. But let's keep rolling.
Melo's 6'8". Thank you to Sam Summers,
Is
who
he
took a
6'8"?
hiatus last week. He's 6'8". Jordan, for the sake of this, I'm not an Ingram fan. I'm going to go LaMelo.
Okay. I only have a couple left here. Ja Morant or LaMelo Ball next decade. Who you taking?
I'm a huge Ja Morant fan. It has nothing to do with, whether I liked LaMelo Ball or not. I'm going to take Ja Morant.
Yeah, I will say this. Ja Morant this year, he's averaging 18.4 points a game off more minutes per game than LaMelo Ball. That's just kind of noteworthy because, LaMelo just got here. He's been here 5 minutes. He's been here as long as Linsanity existed. And Linsanity in New York, that didn't last too long, Mitch. Didn't last too long at all. I'm going to ask you one more. All right?
Okay.
Are you taking your boy, Malik Beasley? Are you taking LaMelo Ball for the next decade?
Wow.
I know. That's your boy.
That's tough. And they both have so much baggage. LaMelo comes with his brothers, comes with his dad, but Malik Beasley, you know what, though? Malik Beasley's been scoring a lot off the court, whether it's with Larissa Pippen or his now ex-fiance. And just for that, I'm going to have to go with Malik Beasley. He's my boy. Ride or die.
Ride or die. Respect.
Yeah.
Respect. Mitch, another thing that's been going on in the NBA, I don't know if you've noticed this, but unfortunately for me, I may have had, a couple months from now, I may have the worst take of all time. A couple months ago, I said, when Brooklyn assembled and got their third piece, they got James Harden, I said, anybody who knows anything about basketball, this isn't going to work. Mitch, I don't feel the same way I felt 2 months ago. I'm going to let you go first. But with how Brooklyn is playing, specifically without Kevin Durant, and we thought this would take a while like it took in Miami when LeBron went down there to play with Bosh and Wade, and they've picked it up really quick. Is Brooklyn a lot better than we expected them to be as a whole?
I'm going to be in the minority here, but I expected this offensive output from him, Jordan. But like you and I have talked about, today earlier this morning we were talking about some of the teams the Cavs played back in like 08 and 09. Remember that Magic team that was just lethal from three? Even they had a night off. And for a team like Brooklyn, when they do have that night off, they're going to lose because they don't play a lick of defense. That's going to be their Achilles heel. And they could still have a night on and lose because another team's on as well. And listen, they're rolling right now. They look like the team to beat in the NBA right next to the Utah Jazz, as crazy as that sounds. If we're just going off the recent success the past couple of weeks, they are by far the team to beat. I've said it all year. They are the favorite to come out of the East. I still don't know if I'm picking them to win the finals, but as the weeks have passed, they have looked more and more like a threat, if not the favorite to win the NBA championship. But the one thing I will say is you made the comment about how they've gotten it together quicker than Miami did when LeBron and Bosh went down there.
Yeah.
You got to remember, these guys have already played with other superstars before going to a team like this, where LeBron, like we said, his best player was all-star Mo Williams, Shaquille O'Neal. No, not Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal from the Frosted Flakes commercial. Anthony Parker, who wasn't even the best basketball player in his family behind Candace Parker. And then don't forget Joe Smith in Cleveland, lethal. And then Chris Bosh had nobody in Toronto, where you look, Kevin Durant had Russell Westbrook and Harden. That went to Golden State, had Clay, Draymond, and Steph. Kyrie has played with LeBron, Kevin Love. So these guys have all played around superstars already, and I think that's helped them get accustomed to each other quicker.
Yeah, you're right. They've all played around superstars, and only one of those superstars out of three has really made it work with other superstars. Kyrie Irving really didn't have a problem. Like, Kyrie Irving wasn't the Kyrie Irving we see now when he played with LeBron, right? He kind of changed after he hit that shot, after he had that success. And who's to blame Kyrie? Shoot, if anybody hit that shot, in a Game 7 of a finals with 2 minutes left, they would probably think more of themselves as well. I'm not blaming them for that. All I'm saying is, I I am extremely surprised. One, because we knew going into it, Kyrie Irving is, for being a superstar, and Kyrie Irving is a superstar if he's playing playing alongside a number one. Even with his bad defense, it's unbelievable. I don't know how many games you've watched Kyrie play with Harden so far, but it's unbelievable because we know who Kyrie Irving is. Okay. We know who Kyrie Irving is. We're just waiting for something else to happen. I think this team can actually ride adversity and get through whatever it needs to, because I feel like at this point Harden and KD are just going to do whatever it takes. And if it was just two of them and not the third, I feel like it would actually be a lot harder. But I feel like if Kyrie is being an asshole and he just leaves to go to his grandpa's house for dinner instead of showing up to Madison Garden to play the Knicks one night, I feel like James and KD could take that. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they could shoulder that load, come together because of their past relationship. I'm surprised because I thought it would take KD to make this happen. Like, you know, James had everything else out in Houston. I don't know. They're 9-1 out of the last 10 games. I don't know how they're going to lose. I know they're terrible on defense. I get that they're terrible on defense. Anybody can tell you that they're terrible on defense. But they average over 120 points a game.
I'll tell you another way they'll lose then. Okay?
How?
Jealousy. Kyrie Irving is balling right now. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about that. Him and James Harden are working well. Mm-hmm. When Kevin Durant comes back, who's going to become the third guy? And no, that someone's going to say, well, no, nobody has to be the third guy. Yes, somebody has to be the third guy. Joe Harris right now, who is also balling, give that man his respect. He's picked up the slack with KD out. I'm not saying he's playing like Kevin Durant, but he's been balling. Is Kyrie Irving going to be okay going back to third fiddle and not getting as many touches and shots as he is right now? We know how easy Kyrie Irving gets his feelings hurt, Jordan. He got hurt a couple weeks ago when he had a cane walking into the arena and somebody called it a cane instead of a prayer stick. So what's going to happen when he doesn't get as many touches and shots anymore when Kevin Durant comes back?
Well, I think it's going to be, like I said, I think it's going to be fine because I think KD has really evolved ever since he got really caught on that burner account, right, on Twitter. Like, KD has gotten better over the years. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of drama in Brooklyn. I know that typically I'd say look back at your history, right? Your history will most likely tell you something that looks kind of like the future. I mean, kind of like the past did. I definitely said that backwards. Anywho, even though Kyrie's going to have a problem in the future, I don't think that it's going to be enough to really put them off course. I think they're going to get to their destination. Their destination is definitely the NBA Finals. They're almost the number one seed right now. They're only going to get better. KD's going to make them better, not worse. I'm beginning to buy more and more and more and more Kevin Durant stock right just at this moment. I don't think I gave him enough credit when he was in Oklahoma City, and I banged on him when he was in Golden State. But I think now that what I'm seeing him do up in Brooklyn as a leader, even though he's not playing, I'm starting to give him all the credit I think he finally deserves to get from me. And I know he's been waiting on it for a while. Mitch, one of the players you picked instead of LaMelo Ball you picked LaMelo Ball over Zion Williamson. And Zion Williamson had himself a night last night against Utah. They went to Utah. I mean, Utah's 27-8. They beat the best team in the NBA, and he had in just a remarkable game. A couple weeks ago, Mitch, people were saying that Zion may have lost a step. Did Zion lose a step, or is he just as good as we thought he was? Is he going to get better?
Oh, I don't think he lost a step, Jordan. I think the issue, like I told you, I would take LaMelo over him, is because Zion hasn't been able to stay healthy. Even last year he was on a minutes restriction. Listen, Zion is a freak of nature. There's no doubt about that. And yeah, he did have a great night last night. 10 of 17, 26 points, 10 rebounds, double-double for the man. But he's going to get better, Jordan, but I just worry about how long he will be able to last in the league with that type of body and frame on him and with how physical he is. It's not like he plays outside like a guard. He's down there banging on other bodies, taking a beating, and he's already had little nagging injuries, even back to Duke. And those things will catch up to you eventually if you don't take care of yourself. And has he taken care of himself? Because he's been nicked up here and there again this year. Listen, I think he's a phenomenal talent, and he will get better, no doubt. But for those that thought he was the next LeBron James, that everybody out here in the draft nowadays just assumes that the number one pick or somebody in the draft lottery is going to be the next LeBron or the next Kevin Durant. And we'll throw it back to, MJ and all the other greats that played back in the 80s and 90s. That's not the case. He's an all-star. He will continue to be an all-star, but he's not going to be one of the greatest of all time, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think he definitely gets better. I don't know why anybody was making a big deal about it. I didn't think he was any different than he was last year when he started this year. It's funny how people take such a small sample size sometimes, and they'll try to take antidotes, like single situations, and try to apply it to the whole thing. Like he hadn't played many games yet. You know what I mean? A couple weeks ago, there's a couple teams that were way outside the playoff race, and now they're right in the thick of things. Getting into the playoff standings, Mitch, because we haven't done that much lately. If you look at the East right now, between the 4th seed and the 8th seed is a game and a half. In the 4th seed right now is Michael Rappaport's New York Knicks. The New York Knicks, I want to say finally have a team, but they're 18-17. Are the Knicks for real, or are they frauds right now?
Jordan,
Mitch,
New York Knicks,
yeah,
are for real to a point. They aren't 4th seed for real. They are one of the best bottom half teams in the Eastern Conference. And by that, I fully anticipate them to make the playoffs because for the first time in years, they have a good head coach. They have players that have bought in to the head coach, and they have a guy that most people didn't expect to be playing as well as he is in Julius Randle. Listen, you're not just 18-17 by accident. They're playing defense this year because it's a Tom Thibodeau coach team. 104 points per game, Jordan, is the least amount of points given up out of anybody in the Eastern Conference. So they're playing the best defense out of anybody in the East. Call me crazy. I'm kind of enjoying the Knicks being good. It's kind of like it's good for basketball all of a sudden. I don't think, but listen, I think the Heat are going to catch them. I think the Celtics maybe question mark if they figure their shit out. I don't know. Might catch them, but I still think the Knicks are for real. But Jordan, like you said, that 4 through 8 seed, not even 4 through 8 seed, the 4 through 11 seed.
Oh, it's jam-packed.
Within 3.5 games.
It's jam-packed. And Julius Randle, sneaky good season. I have his stats in front of me, Mitch. He's averaging 23.4 points a game, 10.9 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. That's per game. And not many people in the NBA average a double-double doing that with points and rebounds. Not many at all. Usually, I don't think it's any more than 10. Probably not even that. Probably 7 a year, average a double-double that way. So he's having a great season. I just don't think the East is for real. The Knicks are a good team. They're not anything better than that. They just play. They're just really well coached when it comes down to it.
They are.
RJ Barrett not having a horrible season. He's averaging 16.5 points a game. The Knicks have really struck out. Over the last couple of decades in the draft. So, RJ Barrett, not that bad of a draft pick. And we all know how hard it is to find people in the NBA. It's really hard to draft somebody, like draft a superstar, and then win a championship with that same superstar, especially nowadays because of all the mobility in the sport. So, good job for the Knicks, but go ahead, Mitch.
I'll say this, I went on record, Zion by far was going to be the number one pick. Ja Morant was electric, but the question marks around him were, he played at Murray State. To me, in my opinion, I had said I thought RJ Barrett was the safest pick in the draft. Didn't mean he was going to be the best of everybody, but to me, I just thought he was going to be a very solid player in the NBA, and he's finally showed it this year.
You thought he was going to be a safer pick than Zion?
I personally, just because he was going to be steady. Zion, like I said, injuries at Duke. How's he going to be able to play in the NBA with that size? Is he going to hold up? And then Ja Morant, the question mark was, All right, he's a little bit smaller. He played at Murray State, so did he really face any good competition? I just felt like there was question marks around everybody, RJ Barrett included. But from what I saw in college, I thought RJ Barrett was a very safe pick. Like there wasn't a whole lot of risk taking him compared to the other two guys.
Yeah, I didn't like RJ Barrett coming out of Duke. I watched almost every one of his games because that was when I was still watching basically every Duke men's basketball game. And I didn't like him when he played for Duke, to be completely honest with you. I didn't think he was a safe pick at all. I still don't know. I'm still not crazy about him. I don't think his upside is really high at all. At least it's not to me. Then again, I didn't think Julius Randle's upside was incredibly high either when he was in LA. Sometimes you just need time, you know. Sometimes you just need time.
You and I probably thought Anthony Bennett was going to be a stud too, so that's why we're not working in the NBA as draft experts.
You know, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. But you know who's not an expert on the Cleveland Cavaliers? Mitch Balla. Because Mitch Balla last week, guys, said the Cavs were going to continue to lose. What have the Cavs done since then, Mitch? All they've done is win, baby. 4 games in a row. My favorite win streak is 4. Welcome to the land. Mitch, Colin Sexton, is he a foundational piece the Cavs can build around over the next, decade, or is he somebody that you're like, he'll be here for a year or two, but I'm not going to buy his jersey. Not going to be here long enough.
No, I think he's for sure a foundational piece. I said last week that I don't think him and Garland can work together. And a lot of people out there were outraged by that. And then, I had a couple people send me the box scores of what happened in Philly when they combined for 53. Congrats. Mm-hmm. One game. I'd like to see that a little more if you want a backcourt comparable to what's in Portland. Okay. Listen, Sexton is a baller. He's a scorer. I love his aggressiveness and wanting to guard. I don't want to say the best player on the defensive end because he can't guard the best player on the defensive end strictly because of his size. But Colin Sexton is a bucket. His issue, in my opinion, is he really a point guard because he doesn't pass and get assists a whole lot. Although last night he had 8 assists. So, made me eat my words again. But Jordan, I would absolutely say he is a foundational piece here in Cleveland. I think the Cavs have 2 for sure in Sexton and Jarrett Allen. I want to say Garland's a foundational piece, but you just don't know. And we'll see if he or Sexton are really a foundational piece come draft time this year.
Mitch, Colin Sexton, I was joking earlier. He's not the next LeBron James. But Colin Sexton is somebody that I think the Cavs are going to have for a long time. He's really young. I love how hard he plays sometimes. When we got him, he was 19 years old. A lot of people right now are getting criticized just incredibly hard. And a lot of the people who are getting criticized are 22-year-old basketball players. These guys, they have time to develop. I think he's going to be a superstar. I love Colin Sexton. When I saw him slap the floor on defense a couple years ago, I lost my mind. I was like, that's my guy, because I love somebody who plays some defense. Cavs 4-game winning streak. Cavs might be back in the playoff run. Speaking of that, guys, something I didn't know that you may not know either. Come playoff time, there's going to be a 1-game play-in game, Mitch, right?
I want to say it's best 2 of 3.
Is it best 2 out of 3 where the 7th seed?
I want to say.
The 7th seed plays the 10th seed, and then the 8th seed plays the 9th seed in the East and in the West to get into the playoffs. I didn't know that. Mitch, there's 72 games this year. 72. A regular season is 82. Right. So 72. What is that? Cut. You're cutting it down by what? 13% maybe. So you're dashing the schedule by 13%. If you're one of the teams that ends up getting the 7th or 8th seed, are you could you be justifiably angry that you have to play a play-in game?
That's a good question.
I only ask good questions. I'd be pissed. I'll tell you how I feel. If you
know what? For the sake of this conversation we're having right now and where we're at in the NBA season right now, no, you can't be, because you have so much left in the season to climb all the way up to number 4. All right. So if you just mess around and you sit there at 7 and 8, you have no one else to blame but yourself. Okay. And you can knock out the teams you're battling with the rest of the way. The second half of the schedule was just released. Okay. We know the schedule is changed a bit this year because of COVID. Teams are playing some more games in the East than they would, cross conference and everything. If you're in the East and you're the Celtics and you're the Raptors, the Tampa Bay Raptors, don't forget, the Charlotte Hornets, the Pacers, the Bulls, and we're not going to talk Hawks or Wizards or Cavs because I don't count them yet. And you're sitting in there, you control your own destiny. So if you're going to sit around and mess around and just kind of lose some games here, but then show up and beat really good teams, the number 1 seed in the East Sixers, who really are a bunch of phonies. And yes, I said that, and we'll touch on that here in a second. You have no one to blame but yourself. I mean, Jordan, we just talked about it. How many teams between 4 and 11 are there? And it's decided by 3.5 games or less. Okay. So if you want to screw around, you want to rest guys, and you get the 7 or 8 seed and you lose in that play-in tournament, you have no one to blame but yourself.
Yeah. Well, and that's the segue to the Philadelphia 76ers, because we already know how I feel about what we just talked about. You think they're frauds, but you know what? Before I even give you my point, why are they frauds? Why are they frauds? They're leading the East. They're doing something that they haven't done in a long time. They're keeping Joel Embiid healthy. They have a head coach. They have some stability. Why? Why are they frauds? They're 23-12, and they may have the best player in the NBA right now, but they're frauds.
Absolutely, they are frauds. How? Because remember when the Cavs, when I called that losing streak they were going to go on, right? And they played probably the toughest schedule for 10 straight games in the NBA. No doubt about that. They probably played the top, 4 teams in the Western Conference, some really good teams in the Eastern Conference. That was expected for them to lose. Now, I was outraged at how they lost. But
yeah,
you're supposed to beat teams you're better than, correct? Now, we know there's some things here like the Cavs beating the Nets, unless people think the Cavs are better than the Nets.
These are professionals. Like that saying was made, like maybe not for professional sports. On any given day, you can lose.
Well, hey, the Sixers have had the complete opposite of what the Cavs have had. The Sixers have had one of the easiest, if not the easiest, schedule in the NBA. And what backs that up is the fact that they are 2-6 against any team they've played this year over 500. Congrats. They're beating up on the bad teams in the NBA. They're doing what they should be doing, Jordan. But 2-6 against the teams that you're probably going to get matched up with in the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs or the Eastern Conference finals have beaten you. All right. So I'm not sitting here saying that they are the best team in the East just because of their record. I mean, I just think they're frauds.
I think they have some quality wins. They've beaten the Nets this year. They've beaten the Lakers. They've beaten the Celtics twice. They've beaten the Heat. They've beaten the Pacers. They've beaten the Mavericks. They've beaten the Raptors. Those are all really good teams I just named. They beat all those. So, records are deceiving at this point. Okay.
You just called the Celtics a good team? After you just...
Who?
The Celtics?
Yeah, it's still a tough team to play. Yeah, absolutely. It's still a tough team to play. And when they played the Celtics and they beat them back-to-back nights, they beat them back-to-back nights when they beat them. Like, that's impressive. Shane Kelly in the comments said, "Hey, hard to beat a team twice." Yeah, it is. It's really tough. All those teams I just named are really good teams. Are really okay. Yeah, the Cavs beat the Nets twice, but the Cavs would lose to me, you, and your mom if we played them Saturday in the morning, especially in the morning. They're not good in the mornings. You know what I mean? Like, it's not tough at all. The Sixers are not frauds at all. They literally have the best player in basketball who on any night could go for 30 and 20. Ben Simmons shooting 57.4% from the field. Hey, Mitch, is that good? 57.4%? Is it good? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah,
but
just
from
want
where
to check.
In the field, though, Jordan? Inside the paint?
From everywhere.
From inside the paint?
From everywhere.
Oh, everywhere.
His percentage
everywhere.
From the field. I didn't say from the free point line. I didn't say from the layup line.
Right, because he can't shoot from the free throw line. He can't shoot past the free throw line.
Hey, here, Mitch, we don't have time to discuss every shot Ben Simmons can make or he can't make. All I know is that 60%. All I want to say is 60% of his shots go in, which is, I don't know, makes him one of the best players in the NBA. But that's just statistics. We won't go with numbers. Numbers just prove what you do in real time. That's what numbers are. They prove what you do in real time.
So who's shooting the game-winning shot then? I'll let Joel Embiid shoot 20-foot jumpers to tie the game and send it to overtime or win the game against the Cavs like he did the other night. I'll let Ben Simmons I will sag off 30 feet from Ben Simmons, let him shoot. And let's see that 57% from the field. I'd love to see that on the line because guess what? He can't do it. They're frauds.
I don't care if he chucks the ball at the hoop like he's playing mat ball in a gym. I don't care. I'd have no problem with him with 10 seconds left, game on the line, deadlocked, Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7, playing the Celtics at the Garden. If Ben Simmons, with 10 seconds left, takes the final shot on a drive to the hoop, I'd have no problem with that. Because every 3 out of 5 shots he throws up statistically goes in. That's pretty good. I'm just saying.
So on the drive to the hoop, correct?
Yeah. That's what you do.
On a drive to the hoop, okay. So we'll see what happens when they actually put, Colin Sexton can't guard him every time. A guy that's,
you right?
I don't even know.
You look like you're writing all what I'm saying in like an Excel document over there. You doing that for like 4 months down the road?
No, because I just go back. I can go back on YouTube and just pull this and just, say, this is all I have to say to you right now.
Who was on crack?
That's what you're acting like right now. You're acting like you're on crack. First, you tell me the Celtics are one of the best teams in the East. Now they just get back to 500.
I told you that at the beginning of the season. I said that at the beginning of the season. I still think they're one of the better teams. I think the Heat are. And the Heat 7 games ago were dog shit. But if you ask me now, but they're not anymore. That's the thing about the NBA.
Figuring it out, though. The Celtics are still over here trying. I don't even know what the hell they're trying to do. They're not playing basketball.
Mitch.
One day they're playing basketball. The next day they're trying to play pool basketball with me, and we all know how that ends.
Yeah.
Not in a good situation.
No. What is basketball? Basketball is a game of runs. It is one of the only games that you could be up 20. I could leave to go get popcorn and a beer, come back and be down 10. It's the same thing in the records. It's a game of runs. Sometimes you have losing streaks. Sometimes you have winning streaks. It's how the game works. Sometimes you score 30 points to start the game while the other team scores 0. It's a game of runs, okay? We're looking at the cumulative data. The season not over. They have a lot of basketball left. Hold on, let me get up. How many games? 40 games. Over half of the season left. 40. Yes, I still think the Celtics are good. Unless you cut off Jaylen Brown's hands and sew him to his ass, the Celtics are going to be a team that are going to contend in the East. They're going to contend in the East.
Contend to make a playoff spot, contend to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. What's your definition of contend? I'm not letting you out with this huge wiggle room here.
I think they could be in a deep series in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference Finals game. I still think they're as good as I thought they were at the beginning of the year. I wouldn't be surprised given the seeding, and who knows, the Celtics could be a 7th seed. You know what I mean? We don't know how the end of the year is going to go. I don't anticipate them being that. I'll say if the seeding works out where they're on the opposite side of Brooklyn, I say they play Brooklyn in the Eastern Conference Finals. They lose some games. But I'm not going to throw my stock away on Boston quite yet. Not quite yet.
Fair enough.
I'm not on crack. But hey, that was our NBA segment. It's time for Mitch's headline news.
Well, Jordan, we're gonna see what it sounds like today with a little bit of traveling music in the background. All right, so let's go ahead and get to it. And while we do that, I'll give you today's half-hour headlines, Jordan. Jordan, let's start back to last week where we were talking about Lady Gaga and her dog walker that was shot with her dogs kidnapped. She did get both dogs back, and her dog walker, Ryan Fisher, was quoted in the hospital saying, "Lady Gaga, your babies are back and the family is whole. Your support as a friend, despite your own traumatic loss from your kids, was unwavering. I love you and thank you." What kind of person does this say Lady Gaga is? Just a person of the people, right?
Huge Lady Gaga fan. Huge Lady Gaga fan. Huge. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, sure. We'll just say yes. Well, I'll go off that. Jordan, back to last week, though, when we heard about the breaking news and unsettling news of former Mr. Potato Head that caused some controversy and outrage after Hasbro announced there was no more Mr. or Mrs. Potato Head. Hasbro that night then came out and said, Mr. Potato Head isn't going anywhere. It was announced today that the Potato Head brand name and logo are dropping the Mr., but they were proud to confirm Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head aren't going anywhere and will remain Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head when it comes to their accessories. They will just be called Potato Head as a whole. You happy about that?
In a pandemic, so much shit going on, and we're talking about the name of a children's toy. It's kind of funny how much time people invest in arguing things that are just so trivial, that are just so meaningless. I'm glad Mr. Potato Head remains Mr. Potato Head. All I'll say is I had him in my Amazon cart ready to buy, and I wake up the next morning, and I get a text message from my best friend Drew, and it says, hey, you better go buy your Mr. Potato Head. They just outlawed him. I look on Amazon, and they're selling Mr. Potato Head for $1 million. Like, how did a toy that was in my cart for $10 become that much so quickly? It's disappointing.
That's very disappointing. You know what else is disappointing?
What?
The fact that NBA great and Cleveland fan favorite Joakim Noah has officially retired from the game of basketball, Jordan.
Thank God.
I know he's one of your favorite players of all time. Are you heartbroken?
He sucks. I'll never forget when he called out Cleveland and said that town. Like, how could someone with nasty teeth like him call out a city? Like, there's nothing nastier in the city of Cleveland that is not in his, like, front of his mouth. Shame on you, Joakim Noah. That's how I really feel about that, Mitch. That's how I really feel about that. Like, to be so outspoken about something that you shouldn't be outspoken about.
True. I mean, he hated the city of Cleveland, so therefore I hate him. Piece of shit, Joakim.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it.
Get out of
all
here.
There is to it. Take that shit and go home. You know who else is going home or going to find a new home? Who? Is Kyle Van Noy, linebacker of the Miami Dolphins, who was surprisingly cut today, Jordan. Potential Browns target?
Possibly. I love it. I don't know what were the Dolphins paying him beforehand. Do you know? Because he was basically a star up on that New England defense before he went down to Miami this past year.
They had just cut him 1 year after he signed a $51 million deal with them. So
$51 million over what?
Yeah.
What was the contract?
Four years.
He stab somebody? 37. What are they trying to do down? That's wild. That's a huge. They cut him today?
Well, they cut him today. Jordan, apparently there's a lot of speculation going on that the cap is going to be much lower for some teams than anticipated. We will know. We have to know before March 15th, as that's the first day that free agents can't officially sign or the league tampering period is over. So the rumor is that this week, I know there's all these different websites that say this is the cap, this is the projected cap. There is no official word from the NFL yet of what it is. So speculation is the Dolphins are anticipating their cap to be much lower than they were projecting.
Okay. That seems like there's something else that we don't know that's going to come out in the next week or so. So I feel like that's a pretty big move that I haven't heard anybody say anything about all day until right now. Good catch, Mitch.
Yeah. Thank you. Speaking of things that have come out, Jordan, some disturbing news has come out in Cleveland regarding the Cleveland Indians, soon to be whatever the hell you want to call them. We'll keep the jokes aside right now. Former Indians pitching coach and former Mets manager Mickey Callaway, who we have touched on previous episodes for sexual harassment of women, whether that was sending them pornographic images or placing his hands on them. Yes, it has now been rumored and reported through The Athletic that the Cleveland Indians knew about this, and it stems all the way back to his time in Cleveland. The Indians earlier this offseason came out and said they did not know about anything. Today, the story broke that the Cleveland Indians did know about it all. Even Terry Francona's son, Nick, came out and said that the Cleveland Indians are lying and know about this. Jordan, it is all he said, she said right now until the investigation is completed by the MLB. If this is found to be true, have we seen the last of Terry Francona as the Indians head coach, and have we seen the last of Chris Antonetti as the Indians general manager?
This morning I woke up, Mitch. I woke up like I do every morning. Got out of bed, Same room I'm in right now, so it's really not far from where I'm at, which is kind of great. Convenience, that's what we're all looking for in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got up, went to my computer, and I just had this weird feeling in my stomach. Like, it had the grumblies that only tweeting about Terry Francona could satisfy. So I grabbed my phone, and I tweeted out this morning that it's about time that Terry Francona gets traded for Brad Pitt. And I think that's going to happen. I think Terry Francona is out of Cleveland. They don't organizations. They don't take stuff like this well at all. Not at all. I think this is going to be
even as the league.
No, and I will say this: it is funny how if this happened in the NFL, I feel like in the NFL you have way more wiggle room than you have in the other two major sports. I was thinking about this earlier between the NBA, NFL, in the MLB, just all the differences. Those are some of the differences. I think he's gone, Mitch, and it sucks because I think he's one of, if not the best manager in baseball. Over the last, you could say 2 decades. He's just had a lot of success with a lot of different teams. Anytime anybody duplicates the success like that with multiple different teams, you start having a conversation about that individual, not about the organization they necessarily had success at. So, man, that's gonna suck. But Mitch, I think he's gone.
I sure hope not. But unfortunately, when it comes to an issue like this, one that should not be tolerated whatsoever. He will have to be replaced, as will the general manager. In fact, it might have to be a clean sweep in the Indians organization. We'll have to wait and see. But that was a big story that had broke today, Jordan, that needed to be reported. Another big story, well, not as big, but a fun story. Saints running back Alvin Kamara. Have you seen what he's been doing recently, Jordan? He bought a house in Montana and told people if they need him, not to need him, because he will be in Montana and he loves it there. Not only has he been breathing air for a few hours there, and did he buy a house there and wants to be left alone, Jordan, he has now picked up snowboarding and called himself Alvin Sean White Kamara.
Sounds like
should the Saints be worried that he might give up football to be a professional snowboarder?
That's not where I thought you were going to take that. That's pretty impressive that you swerved at the last second there. Yeah, I would be nervous that he's snowboarding, period. I didn't ski for like most of my life because I thought it was going to be super dangerous, and it is very dangerous, and that I'd get hurt, and I did get hurt, by the way, when I did start. But yeah, I would definitely be worried about this. That's a really weird spot for Alvin Kamara to move to. He just moved to the home where the Bears live. It's really Montana, like 15 other people, and then like 40 Bears. So yeah. That's a weird flex. I kind of like it. I'm sure it's extremely peaceful out there. I'm really curious to know how expensive it was for him to buy a place in Montana, because I want to say that it wouldn't be that expensive. Then I want to say, if I'm Alvin Kamara and I'm going out there, I'm getting me some real Montana land. You know what I mean? I'm just not going out there and getting like a corner store spot. I'm getting like I'm buying like a village.
I will do my research to see how big the property he was that he bought in Montana. We'll get back to you on Thursday, Jordan.
Thank you.
Because that's a big question that we need to know. Another big question that was answered over the weekend, Jordan, is for the music fans out there that enjoy Bruno Mars, who announced he is dropping a song from his next album called Silk Sonic on Friday, March 5th. You a Bruno Mars fan?
I actually love Bruno Mars. Big Bruno Mars fan. I'm not a huge fan of many people's albums, so there's probably 8 or 9 different songs that I have downloaded on my phone. Not a huge album guy. If I have an album downloaded, a complete album, they're most likely my favorite, and I don't have anybody's. Yeah, huge Bruno Mars fan. You a fan?
Oh, I'm a fan.
You mess around?
His Super Bowl show from a few years back was pretty electric. I mess with Bruno Mars. I like his music. Gets me in a good mood. And and after the show, I'm gonna have to go listen to some tunes by Bruno Mars. Jordan, I have a lot of headlines today, and I just got a couple more though. 59 years ago to the day, NBA great Wilt Chamberlain put up the NBA record 100 points in a single game. Jordan, will anybody in today's NBA come close to touching that.
No, never. I saw a stat line the other day. I think it was from Wilt that I want to say it was like 50 points, like 38 rebounds, 20 blocks, and like it was something else, and it was the most ridiculous stat line. I just don't understand how you could score 100 points in the game or put up any of those other stat lines that I just mentioned.
You must have been playing against like midgets, maybe people with no arms.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA's definitely evolved. That's why I love when people say, oh, wow, if you'd have played in my time. Yeah, in your time when everybody was white and 5'8", sure. Yeah, I would have loved to play then too. Like, come on now. Like, come on. Your era. It's NBA's in its best era right now. Most talent it's ever had. It's not even, I want to do that, and I think we all want to do that, Mitch. I don't know if you obviously, you were a college baseball player. I was a college runner. We always want to look back at years after we graduate. At least I have in every sport, and I feel like most athletes want to do that and be like, if I would have raced against them or I would have played against them, there's no way they'd have beat me. You know what I mean? We all do that. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Hardcore.
I remember leaving high school and like going back 2 years to watch a game, just like, wow, these kids look so small. When I was playing, all the kids, were closer to, between 5'8" and 6'3". These kids were massive. Now these kids are out here. It looks like they should be playing t-ball.
Yep.
I know. So I know exactly what you mean. But wait, do you hear that?
What is it?
Oh,
is that basketball?
It's March. It's March, which means March Madness is right around the corner. And that means we got some nail biters of basketball games coming up the rest of the next couple of weeks. But Jordan, specifically tonight, where number 6 West Virginia will host number 3 Baylor, and number 2 Michigan will host number 4 Illinois. Now, both Baylor and Michigan can win their conference with a win tonight. But if West Virginia beats Baylor, they are still live for the Big 12 crown. And if Illinois beats Michigan, they are still live for the Big 10 crown. Jordan, are you going to be tuned into these games tonight as we get ready for March Madness, which we missed out on last year, which is why I have my March Sadness shirt on right now?
I am, Mitch, and I'm going to do something that I've never done before. I'm cheering for Michigan, Mitch. I want them to win the Big 10 because I don't think the Buckeyes can anymore.
No.
I think it's good for college athletics if Michigan is more relevant in some of the major sports. Plus, I love that a coach, like a former coach, especially someone who's from the Fab Five, is coaching their team. Come on. It doesn't get any cooler than that. I'll be there.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great basketball. For Ohio State's sake, who have dropped 3 in a row, and we'll get more in depth in college basketball on Thursday. I hope Michigan wins tonight as well because I need Ohio State to get out of that 5 seed they're in right now in the Big Ten tournament. It's a potential matchup with Penn State, who apparently just is Ohio State's biggest kryptonite in the history of basketball. It makes absolutely no sense. But in honor of March being here now, Jordan, and the brackets will soon be filled out.
Mm-hmm.
That is why Headband Mitch has joined the show today. It is why I have a headband on, just in case a team ever needs action. Like I said a couple episodes ago during the half-hour headlines, NCAA said some teams will be there in case a team gets COVID. All I'm saying is I'm out here. I have a year of eligibility left, people. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And because that's all I'm saying, Jordan, those were today's afternoon headlines.
Mitch, those were some solid headlines. A lot of headlines.
I had a lot.
A lot of headlines. Well, Mitch, there's not a lot to get into still, but one topic in particular that is huge. Huge. We haven't covered yet. J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt finally, for the love of God, he finally signed so we can stop talking about this. J.J. Watt signed a 2-year, $31 million deal. They gave him $23 million guaranteed and landed him and his wife in Arizona playing with DeAndre Hopkins, Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury. Pretty good team. Are you surprised that J.J. Watt signed with the Cardinals? And do you think this move puts the Cardinals over the top in their own division?
I'll answer your first question. Yes, I am surprised J.J. Watt signed with the Cardinals, Jordan. As we know, reportedly, now it never came from his mouth, but generally when a report gets put out there by the likes of Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport, there's some truth behind it. J.J. Watt was looking for 3 things: Super Bowl contender or a playoff contender, a proven quarterback and money. Well, J.J. Watt said, screw those first two things and just took the money because no, the Cardinals aren't the favorite in their own division. They're a team that just finished fourth in their own division, and in my opinion, aren't going to finish any higher than third. Two, they don't have a proven quarterback. As Jake Fearley has said, listener of the show, and I love the analogy he gave him, Kyler Murray is a Muppet. That's all there is to it. He's a Muppet. Kyler Murray, I'm not sold on Kyler Murray. I don't understand why people think he's in the MVP conversation. If he was so great, he wouldn't have had his team that was 7-3, I believe, fall to 8-8 last year. Okay. You had a chance to finish above the 49ers, who have perhaps the best defense in that division, who was just injured across the board last year. Seattle, who can't protect Russell Wilson and has an average defense, couldn't finish above them. Oh, they won the West. And now the Rams, who have an upgraded quarterback. So no, the Cardinals aren't going to win that division. And JJ Watt just proved he's in it for the money. And congrats, dude. Like I said, for Deshaun Watson, congrats. Go get your money. He got his money, but now he's bitching on one side of Houston. JJ Watt got his money. I don't want to hear him bitching when Arizona struggles this year or if they don't make the playoffs or anything, okay? Personally, Jordan, I think he went to Arizona because they gave him the most guaranteed money, and we know he has an issue of staying healthy.
Fair enough. I want to say this first. As a Browns fan, I am very excited that they did not get J.J. Watt because although he did play all 16 games last year, Mitch, being down in the trenches as a defensive lineman, does a job get any harder than that? Maybe a cornerback? It's a really physical position, a lot of injuries. It's typically not a position that once you start getting injuries, you get less of them. You typically start getting more.
Right.
I thought J.J. Watt was going to be great for the Browns' locker room. I thought that would have been a great thing. But think about all the money they just paid J.J. Watt. One, Cleveland sports teams are notorious for doing what? Paying people not to play. I typically like my superstars that I pay to play. That's just how I typically think. I know it's kind of weird, but I think it's a good thing for us, especially as Browns fans. I think we can spread that money around. I'd rather get some corners anyways. Not surprised because he said the money. DeAndre Hopkins is there. Kyler Murray's there. Cliff Kingsbury's there. And I don't know if you've ever been around their facility, but Arizona's gorgeous.
Arizona's beautiful.
Talk about a place that you would love to be, even if you weren't playing professional football there. So I think it's a good move for him and his wife. I have no problem with somebody getting their money, but don't lie to us and tell us it's about winning championships.
Right.
Clearly not about winning championships because you have the Rams in your division with Sean McVay, okay, who's one of the best coaches in football, and they now have Matt Stafford, and don't they have a pretty good defensive lineman on that team? Oh,
wait.
Do you know his name?
Wait. What? Yes, they do. Yep. One more time.
Wait, I needed you to say his name. That's why I did this with my ear right here. You need to say it.
I'm just doing what he does to every quarterback every time he sees him.
Oh, fair enough. Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald's his name. Aaron Donald's his name. They're not over the hump at all. They just wasted money. So now you're in a division with Matt Stafford and Sean McVay. You're not better than them. Not better than them at all. We saw how much coaching matters just in the end of the Packers game when they played Tampa Bay. When Matt LaFleur decided to not go for it on fourth down, kick the field goal, and then they never got the ball back. That's the difference when a coach like Sean McVay goes up against another coach like Cliff Kingsbury. There's a noticeable difference. They're not better there. The 49ers, if Jimmy G stays healthy, just look at his win to loss ratio.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to win football games. He's going to win more than he's going to lose. That puts them over 500. And what's the last team in the division? Oh, the Seattle Seahawks, who without anybody on their offensive line went 12-4. And I don't want to put it all on their offensive line, but they did go 12-4. This division is so stacked. And I don't think this move made them really good enough to be second best in their division, let alone first best, Mitch.
And the move they made to acquire J.J. Watt, and listen, I wanted J.J. Watt on the Browns because I thought he would be dominant alongside Myles Garrett, but more so for the quality of the leadership he has in the locker room that the Browns kind of lack on the defensive side of the ball. Myles Garrett can only do so much because he's only been in the league for 4 years now. JJ Watt's a 3-time defensive player of the year. He's a future Hall of Famer, no doubt. So I wanted that for the Browns, but no way in hell I would have paid them that much money. The Cardinals just handicapped themselves, though, by that contract.
They did.
They were already rumored to having to let Patrick Peterson go this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to have to let other people go now? They're not going to be able to go out and get other big-name players. Where now with the Browns, okay, you move on. Maybe you get 2 guys for all that money that can equal the production, if not more, J.J. Watt would have put out next to Myles Garrett. Maybe you get 2 younger guys that have something to prove. So it's not – I'm not sitting here upset that we didn't get J.J. Watt. Did I want him? Yeah. Do I care that we didn't get him? No. Because the Browns are a place people want to be now. We're not going out and oversigning, overpaying for frickin' Paul Kruger to come here and steal money from us, or Willie McGinnis, or Dwayne Bowe. I mean, that's not us anymore. We have the luxury now of being a good football team with 2 of the best running backs, the coach of the year, a quarterback in the uprise, one of the best defensive players to say, hey, come play here. But Jordan, did it seem odd to you at all that nobody on the Browns really openly recruited J.J. Watt? Yeah, Mac Wilson did, and congrats, Mac Wilson. I don't even consider you a big part of this team anyway. But think about it.
That was kind of a weird tweet, by the way. I just want to say that before you go.
That's probably why he didn't come here. That's probably why he saw Mac Wilson tweet at him. He's like, oh, Mac Wilson, screw that guy. Let's get out of here.
It was odd.
Think about DeAndre Hopkins tweeted at him. Okay, you got the mayor of New Orleans making videos for Russell Wilson. But Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr., whether you think he's going to be here or not, and Myles Garrett, 4 of the biggest names in your team, most vocal guys in your team when it comes to social media, didn't say a peep, didn't try to recruit him here. Do you think that says something about J.J. Watt in the locker room that maybe we don't know about? Because there are rumors out there that J.J. Watt is an eye guy and not a team guy.
Listen, I think it's pretty clear that he's an eye guy, and that's okay. I mean, that's an okay. I mean, you should be your biggest fan first, you know? Mitch, your biggest fan in your life should be you first. Likewise with me. So if J.J. Watt's a fan of himself, you know, that's a good thing. Now, the question is, how much is he a fan of himself? And it sounds like it's a lot. Because I will say this. Everybody keeps telling me how the Texans are a shit organization. First of all, shit organizations don't acquire talent because they don't know what talent looks like. For 20 years, I watched the Browns struggle to find talent. The Texans found it pretty quick, and a lot of other teams do. And a lot of other teams can go from 2-14 to 2-14 to go to the playoffs next year, right? Like it can happen rather fast. I mean, it can happen rather fast. Mitch, what am I responding to right now? I'm lost. I'm off.
Are you shocked that nobody on the Browns openly recruited?
Oh
J.J. Watt?
No. I'm sorry. That's what it was. A brain fart there. Not at all, because everybody keeps saying, this is what I was getting to. Everybody keeps telling me that the Texans organization, is shitty. Well, guess what? They could have traded J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt obviously had great value on the market. He got $31 million over 2 years. And he's on the back nine of his career. Like, back nine, right? So, obviously, he had a lot of value, and the Texans did him a solid because by releasing him, that allowed him to get a signing bonus with a new team. So, not only did he get to pick which team he got to go to, but he made more money because of it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, J.J. Watt did do things behind closed doors, which I'm a fan of. And I wanted him in Cleveland because, like I told you, the locker room. But the more that comes out about this, I'm thinking maybe not. Maybe it's good. Oh. Maybe it's a good thing. Money wise, I'm glad we don't have him, but we still need somebody in the locker room who's a veteran, whether that's Richard Sherman or somebody else, to kind of tie everything together for the Browns.
And if you didn't already think J.J. Watt maybe is not who you think he is, shout out to Sam Summers, who, if you're watching us right now on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, you saw his comment. J.J. Watt is taking number 99 of the Cardinals, Jordan, which has been retired for a World War II veteran. And J.J. Watt's going to wear that number. That's just a bizarre take there.
Oh, Pat Tillman? Is that who it is? Pat Tillman?
Is that Pat Tillman?
Did you say what did you say?
World War II.
Oh, it's definitely not Pat Tillman then. I'm sorry. Pat Tillman's from I'm sorry. I didn't realize you said that. Yeah, definitely not him because World War II didn't happen in 2004. So definitely, it's definitely not him.
No, but nonetheless, it was somebody that served our country. And J.J. Watt just said, I'm J.J. Watt. I'm taking number 99. Like, bro.
Yeah, it's not necessarily surprising. But I'm going to respond to this last guy. We have Noah Danke in the comments saying, when will Texas be back, Jordan? I don't know when Texas will be back. Cowboys suck. The Rockets suck. And I had them in my power rankings, 3 weeks ago. Houston sucks.
Cheat. Yeah, Astros cheat.
I don't know when Texas will be back. Maybe it'll come back
University of Texas
with
too
Steve.
sucks.
Yeah, I know. Maybe it'll come back with Steve Sarkisian. We'll find out as long as he's not drinking at practice or doing anything like that, like he did back in the day. That was Steve Sarkisian, right? Or was that Lane Kiffin? I get those two confused.
They've crossed paths, so it's probably both of them.
I know. I'm pretty sure it is. Mitch, last segment of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Who has bigger balls?
Mitch, who has bigger balls?
Jordan. I don't even know if we should have a second. I just think that we already know who has bigger balls today. And let me tell you who it is.
Okay. All right. This has to be a good pitch. If I don't get the pick at all, you better sell me on this.
Is it now former Nike executive Ann Herbert's son, who has forced her to resign as vice president of Nike abruptly because he was using her discount at Nike for like 40% off or whatever the discount was to buy shoes with her credit card and then resell them for more money? Cost your mom her job using her credit card and her name too, using the discount that she apparently didn't even know was going on, which, by the way, I call bullshit. You knew it was going on because it was your credit card. Who do the bills go to in your house? Your son? No.
It sounds like this lady's the victim when it comes down to it. It sounds like she definitely didn't know that she was getting thousands of dollars of mail and shoes sent to her house every day. She had no idea.
Or I have a second one for you, Jordan.
Yeah.
Is it the son of Ann from Nike? Or is it our good friend Sam Summers for trying to start a hammock club in Kent, Ohio when the weather is currently 38 degrees outside?
You know what? 38 degrees in Ohio sometimes is like a heat wave. It was 38 degrees down here in Columbus the other day, and I was sunbathing. So depending on where you're at in Ohio, 38 could be pretty hot.
It's true.
It could be.
Actually, I'm just trying to give Sam his props. I think it's awesome he's trying to start a hammock club, but it does take some balls to be out in a hammock right now, whether it's sunny or not, in 38-degree weather. And he's actually right by a river. So, if Sam were to take a tumble,
I like the idea, though. That's why I can't say, that sounds like something that I would do. 38 degrees isn't cold to me. I run, there was a time
I'm saying where he's at, like if you take a tumble trying to get out of the hammock, next thing you fall in the river, then you're going to be cold.
No, that's awesome. Like if they're, you have to have some stakes, right? Like roller coasters are only fun because you think that you're going to fall off the planet and die when you're on the top of them. You know what I mean? Like we feel like there's a real risk, even though there's no risk. I actually, Sam, I'm joining your hammock club. Shoot me the link.
I will also join the hammock club. Actually, you know what, Sam, if you're okay with that, I think we should get the ball pit to join your hammock club.
Yeah,
I think, you know what, Sam, I'll let you even make a pitch on Thursday when you're back, Jordan. But are we going to just go ahead and say it is the son of former Nike vice president that has cost her job and potentially lawsuits upon lawsuits upon lawsuits with the thousands of shoes he had bought and now resold to make a profit on?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
If you haven't, to anybody out there in the ball pit, if you have not seen the photo of her son and the amounts of shoes he had, please go anywhere on Twitter. Jordan, you should do this right now while we're still live so I can get a genuine reaction from you. Just go look at the pictures of him and how many shoes he has in different locations. The amount of shoes this man was buying with his mom's credit card, using her discount, and then reselling them to make a profit. I don't know how she was blind of it for some odd years as a vice president of Nike for 25 years. It's actually mind-boggling.
Yeah, this is pretty awesome. Where is this at? I want to see this. I can't. And yeah, I don't. I can't find it. Hey, if you've made it this far in this episode today, we appreciate you. We love you. Welcome to the ball pit. It's where we put all of our balls. That's where we cover all of our balls. If you haven't subscribed to this podcast or the show, please do it. Tell your mom, tell your grandma, tell everybody. Really. Here it is up on the screen. Oh, wow. What? Oh, no way. That's 1,000 pairs of shoes. Where's my camera at?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. This is awesome.
Yeah.
How much money did they make? Oh, this is great.
A lot.
This is great. If you guys have... Where am I at? Yahoo News? Go to Yahoo News. That's where I'm at. This is absurd. It's literally like a brick wall. 30 feet long of shoes? How high? How high is that?
I don't high. It's high. That's all I can say. So listen, he has the biggest balls for forcing his mom to step down. He was allegedly using bots, her credit card, and her company discount to buy up everything and resell them at a massive profit. And Jordan, you now see how many shoes this man just bought. And those are just a couple pictures.
My mom would have buried me in the backyard. I would have never been on this podcast with you if I had done that.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't even have had a funeral because of how much more money that would have cost. And then my parents wouldn't have been able to. I mean, there's going to be some serious lawsuits and legal action taken here, I would have to assume. But as everybody knows, I'm not good at predicting things, especially when it comes to anything involving money. I told people to bet the house on the Cavs. But Jordan, we'll be back on Thursday for episode 31. Cover your balls. And Sam Summers should be back with us, right?
He is. He's going to be here. He'll be here. Hey, guys. Go ahead, Mitch.
I got one thing to say to you.
You know that fucking Baker Mayfield do this shit to you, bro?
We appreciate you guys. Episode 30, Cover Your Balls. We'll be back for another episode soon. We love you guys. We're out of here.